Have you ever felt like you were living inside a conversation that never actually happened? You're lying on the couch, taking a shower, or staring out the window, when suddenly you realize you're no longer present in what you're doing. You say all the possible sentences in your mind. You win past arguments. You bring the best version of yourself to life in your head. And for a few seconds, it feels so real that the present moment completely disappears. Then, suddenly, you snap back, and a strange feeling lingers. You feel somewhat satisfied, yet a little embarrassed. Then you ask yourself, why do I keep replaying moments that aren't real in my mind? If you think this is just because you're bored or that there's something wrong with you, you're mistaken. Because these scenarios are rarely random, they are actually part of a silent strategy your brain developed. Today, we will examine the psychology behind these imaginary conversations and scenarios playing in your mind. And more importantly, if you've started living inside them, we'll discuss how you can return to real life. First, you need to understand one thing: you aren't just daydreaming. It might look like thoughts casually wandering through your mind, but sometimes something much more complex is happening. You are creating a new reality in your mind, and you aren't just a spectator here. You are the director. You write the script. You choose the camera angles. You decide who says what. And you are the lead actor. Your brain can fill this world with incredible detail. You hear the other person's tone of voice. You see the expression on their face. Whatever you couldn't say in the past, you say it this time. Or you share a flawless romantic moment with someone you've never actually spoken to in real life. So why does your brain spend so much energy replaying a film that isn't real? Because most of the time, what it's working on is unfinished business from real life. Life has a very frustrating rule. It doesn't give you a second chance. For example, someone insults you. You can't respond at that moment. 3 hours later, while washing the dishes, you come up with the perfect comeback, but it's too late. Your brain doesn't like unfinished business. It wants to close open loops, so it takes you back to that moment. But this time, it's different. It gives you power. It restores your confidence. It hands you control. So don't blame yourself. Your brain isn't broken. It isn't trying to waste your life. It is actually trying to understand and balance you. So don't blame yourself. Your brain isn't broken. It isn't trying to waste your life. It is actually trying to understand and balance you. Behind this lies a system known as the Default Mode Network, or DMN. You can think of it as your mind's background app. When you focus on a problem or busy yourself with a task, this network stays in the background. But the moment you relax, it reactivates. When you put on your headphones and start walking. When you look out the window on the bus or when you stand under a warm shower, your mind goes back to work. It gathers memories from the past, blends them with your current desires, and creates alternative realities. This is called counterfactual thinking. Its goal isn't to disconnect you from reality. Your brain is testing different possibilities. It's rehearsing for the future. It's trying to learn from the past. And sometimes, it's trying to process an unhealed emotion from real life. That's why not all scenarios in your mind are bad. Sometimes imagination isn't an escape. It's a process of discovery and learning. At times, you might realize that these mental conversations reveal what you actually want to say. Maybe you didn't know you were truly angry. Maybe you didn't want to admit you were waiting for an apology. Or maybe you weren't talking to that person at all, but rather explaining something to your past self. Because your mind doesn't just replay events. It rewrites the meaning those events left behind. That's why different versions of the same scenario might pop up again and again. In one, you win. In one, you defend yourself. In one, the person who left you comes back. And in one, everyone finally understands you. At the core of all of them lies the same need: to be seen, to be understood, to be accepted, or to feel control again. And sometimes, realizing this is much more valuable than changing the script. Because then you can ask yourself, what do I actually need in real life? Maybe a conversation, maybe a boundary, maybe an apology, or maybe just accepting something that happened in the past. The problem starts when you forget it's a simulation. And when you start living inside it, because your brain is also a prediction machine. It constantly seeks the answer to one question. That's why you rehearse a tough conversation beforehand. You practice what to say when asking your boss for a raise. You think about how to act on a first date. These mental rehearsals can help you feel more prepared when the real moment arrives. But the line between preparation and escape is thin. Sometimes you replay a conversation so much in your head that you have nothing left to say in real life. Because in your mind, that conversation is already over. The same goes for future successes. You imagine a successful version of yourself so vividly that putting in the work to achieve it in real life feels exhausting. And here, imagination can turn into something dangerous. The same goes for future successes. You imagine a successful version of yourself so vividly that putting in the work to achieve it in real life feels exhausting. And here, imagination can turn into something dangerous. Control. The real world is chaotic. You can't control what others think about you. You can't force someone to understand you. You can't take back something you said in the past. People might reject you, misunderstand you, do things you don't expect. But inside your head, everything is different. You own the script there. You turn the lights on and off. You write the ending. You always say the right sentence there. The person who hurt you ends up regretting it. You are understood, and you win. Especially if you felt small, powerless, misunderstood, or unprotected in the past. This imaginary world can feel comforting, because it offers the sense of control that the real world denied you, but it comes at a cost. When you invest too much time and emotion into these scenarios, the boundary between reality and imagination blurs. For instance, you might wake up angry at your partner, just because a fictional version of them treated you badly in your head last night. The real person did nothing, yet you punish them for something that happened in your mind. Or you construct a perfect story about someone you like. You build romantic scenarios in your head. Then, in real life, that person acts a bit distant, and suddenly, you feel disappointed, because reality didn't align with the script you wrote. So, how can you step out of this? First, don't force your thoughts to stop. The more you tell yourself don't think about this, the more your brain focuses on it. Instead of fighting it, try to understand it. Because this mechanism is trying to give you something. Here are 4 ways to process it. Step 1. Get the scenario out of your head. When you catch yourself lost in a big success story or a perfect conversation, stop and write it down. Don't let it run in circles in your mind. Put it into words, because sometimes your brain is just trying to process an unnamed desire or emotion. Once written on paper, your mind may feel it no longer needs to constantly replay it. Step 2. Ask yourself this question. Is this scenario preparing me, or is it protecting me? Preparation is rehearsing something you actually plan to do. For example, you think about how to say no to someone, and the next day, you actually say no. In this case, your imagination moves you forward. Protection, however, is different. You imagine winning an argument, but you stay silent in real life. You imagine confessing your feelings, but you never send the message. Because experiencing the emotion in your mind feels safer than taking a risk in real life. Be honest with yourself. Is this preparation, or a way of hiding? If it's preparation, take that confidence from your mind and act on it in real life. If it's avoidance, acknowledge it. I am hiding. I am comforting myself with a fantasy. Is this preparation, or a way of hiding? If it's preparation, take that confidence from your mind and act on it in real life. If it's avoidance, acknowledge it. I am hiding. I am comforting myself with a fantasy. I am hiding. I am comforting myself with a fantasy. Even realizing this is the beginning of change. Step 3. Set boundaries for your imagination. You don't need to stop daydreaming altogether. It's one of the human mind's greatest strengths. But you can set limits. Set a rule for yourself. The theater has a closing time. When a scenario pops up, allow it for a few minutes instead of suppressing it. Set a timer for 10 minutes. For instance, when time is up, the show ends. Stand up, stretch, and return to your real life. You give your brain this message: this is a tool, not where I live. Step 4. Return to your body. Sometimes your mind pulls you in so deeply that you can get lost in a fake event for 30 minutes. When this happens, don't try to defeat thoughts with more thoughts. Use your body. Feel your feet touching the ground. Notice your breath. Look at an object in front of you. A book, a mug, a bookshelf. Describe its color and shape. Drink cold water. Touch a surface. These small physical actions remind you, this is real. This moment is real. This body is real. And your mind slowly drifts back to the present. In the end, remember this, your mind is like a river. Imaginary scenarios are the water flowing through it. Sometimes it flows calmly. Sometimes it speeds up with pain. You don't have to try to stop it. What you need to learn is not to drown in that flow. Lift your head up. Look at the sky. Acknowledge that the thought is there. Then step out of that current, stand up, and move on with your real life. Because the main problem isn't that these scenarios arise. The problem is forgetting that they aren't the final destination. Maybe you've been taking refuge in these mental worlds for years. Maybe some of them brought you real peace. Maybe during the hardest times of your life, your imagination was the safest place you had. Don't blame yourself for that. But you don't have to live there anymore. These scenarios are just a rehearsal. They don't have to replace your real life. Because real life isn't perfect. People won't always understand you. Things won't always go your way. You will take risks. You will be rejected. Sometimes you'll feel embarrassed. But real life has something imagination doesn't, reality. A real touch, real pain, real tears, real victories. And perhaps its imperfection is what makes it so valuable. So the next time you catch yourself living another life in your mind, don't try to run away right away. Just notice it. Ask yourself, am I preparing right now, or am I hiding? And if you are hiding, gently step out of it. Because you can build a perfect life in your mind. But the only place you can actually live it is right here. Now, maybe while writing your answer, you'll realize you aren't the only one experiencing this. I'm Arthur. Thank you for being here. Don't forget to subscribe so we can continue exploring the deeper layers of the mind together. See you in the next video.